Hello and welcome and a happy President's Day. We're here at the Boise State Esports Arena getting geared up and ready for PEC Spring Week 5. So join us as it's time for Rocket League. Fighting on the pitch today, it is our very own Boise State Broncos going against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. For the casting desk, my name is Eric Desrats. I'm joined by John Rocket League himself. It is none other than Danner Hill. And Danner, this has been quite the busy schedule for the Broncos. They went to the Hawaii Invitational. They just landed this morning. But from what I'm hearing, you know, we had the whole interview where they talked about being Lanimals, and apparently that still stands true.
Oh, absolutely. Lanimals is what we know them for. As they went into this event, it was a initial round-robin stage against them and 5 of the teams. Hawaii, Syracuse, Grand Canyon University, Michigan State, and Baylor. Some of those we are very familiar with here in the PEC.
Oh, yeah.
And in that round-robin stage, they actually went undefeated. They 3-0'd Hawaii and Syracuse, 3-1 Grand Canyon University and Michigan State, and took down Baylor in 5, showing that the Titans can bleed. And then going into Sunday, they had a playoff bracket where they got the initial bye because they were the number 1 seed, awaiting some preliminary matches, one of them being Syracuse versus, I believe it was Grand Canyon. And as they won that one, so it was Boise State versus Syracuse in that semifinal. They won that one 4-1, going to play Baylor in the grand finals, and unfortunately lost 2-4. But it was a Game 6 overtime.
And that's good stuff to hear, you know.
Absolutely.
When it comes to a team as high-caliber Baylor, knowing our Broncos can keep up the moment they hit that land stage, that can be big, especially once we head over to Vegas and start seeing PEC Rocket League over there. But that's coming up in the future. We do got to talk about our socials before we get to business on what's going on today. We would like you to know about our social media page. Not enough Rocket League in your life? I'll turn that around by scanning the code on the screen or looking up Boise State RL on Instagram and X for all the Boise State Rocket League you can handle. We'll have schedules, updates, highlights, and more. Again, that is Boise State RL. Head there, give us a follow. And with that, we do have to talk about the standings. I mean, Baylor's still going to be undefeated in the season. We kind of alluded to them being the big dog to take out, not just at the Hawaii Invitational, but PEC as a whole. Boise following up in second place. With Syracuse and Michigan tied for that third place spot. Makes for a lot of competition and a very top-heavy standings, to say the least.
Yeah, after going into, these past few weeks, coming into now, we're starting to see these double-digit score lines come out, or these double-digit records, I might say. And we're kind of seeing a distinctive, 1 and 2. You got Baylor and Boise State, and your distinctive 3 and 4 with Syracuse and Michigan State, both of those being interchangeable, I would say. And, you look down the list even further, Kansas holding down the line there in the middle, Ohio State, Nebraska, and everyone else holding down the bottom, going down. Like we were talking about a little bit, it's now mid-season in the spring now, looking towards the last few weeks. We're almost at the end of regular season.
That's crazy to think about. Week 5 of the PEC Spring has some solid matches lined up. Bears and Jayhawks lead the charge. Nebraska and Ohio will clash to push for the middle of the pack. Utah will look to take the fight to Syracuse. Michigan taking a bye, and of course the matchup of the day will be Boise State versus Minnesota. And you do have that bye coming out for Michigan in the meanwhile. We talked about it is the final 2 after this week. Once we're done with Minnesota, we'll have Syracuse and Ohio State, and the PEC season will be over.
That will be the case, and as we look at rosters, we are going to have our main trio of Cade Hall, Emiliano Flores, Preston Ferrante, and Coach Waiton there on the stage.
Maybe feeling a little bit tired out after a long flight, right? Kind of busy schedule.
A little bit of a busy schedule, but I wouldn't say too tired, more so than confident coming into this week.
And, of course, on the Golden Gophers, we have Alex Pup, Andon Alatoma, and Alfie Aiega participating in that matchup. Now, Minnesota, the Golden Gophers, even though it's coming down to the end of the season, that means every win really is going to matter. So in order to keep those wins rolling in, we got to follow Doc's keys to the game, Danner.
That is true, and in Doc's keys to the game in Rocket League, punish the double commit, punish the overcommits, punish the double commit again, and always punish the overcommits. Basically just punish everything that the opponent does wrong.
It feels like a double commit in itself to just double up on both of them.
Right? But all of these are brought to you by Blue Ribbon Painting. Blue Ribbon Painting, with over 90 years of combined experience, they are proud to be Boise State's go-to team of local multi-generational painters who know how to level up your home. Visit blueribbonpainting.net.
So, again, a very busy schedule that came out for the Boise State Broncos, but that's part of, the task that they have ahead of them when it comes to a lot of these late season lands that come up. They're a lot of fun to play in, but they keep you busy, but, that's when you kind of start to perform at your best, start to get pushed to the limit. We already saw what they could do against Baylor, and now they have to show up for the rest of the PEC to take it into that playoffs bracket.
Absolutely, and as we look back at the last time Boise State played Minnesota, this was last fall in November. Boise State took that match in a dominant fashion, 16-1 in the total goal differential. The first game being a 4-1, so we'll see if anything can replicate here as Minnesota gets a initial shot on goal, getting saved out by Durtho, and now Preston on the other end. Carry, flipper set over one, looking to carry over more, and it's actually pinched! With the help of Durtho, that is going to be goal number 1 for Boise State, starting off strong.
That was crazy. We almost had a moment where the Golden Gophers looked like they were about to lead with a goal straight from the get-go. Durtho blocks that, and Preston sends it right back home. And with that, Broncos' first 15 seconds that are already on the board.
First 15, I'm not surprised after the flow state I'm sure these players reached this weekend. Durtho now out of the corner. Double tap is going to be close, but a pass out to Woozy! Not going to waste any time. Not even 30 seconds in. Have a 2-goal lead.
I don't even know what to say about that at this point. This back pass was beautiful. Woozy on the opposite end, ready, willing, and waiting to get that goal in. 2-0 back-to-back so quick in this game number 1.
Now a dead 50 coming out. Preston having to reach for this one out into the corner. High waiting this one. Gets the initial 50 and now into the hands of Woozy. Has to play her on one and does so greatly. Alex now chasing this one up. He actually opts out of the ball and gets the demo instead. Durtho now in an awkward position, leaves it for Preston off the sidewall. Initial touch is going to be good. Flipper set, not going to land before it gets denied by Pye. And Boise State look to continue their offensive push.
Boise State looking fantastic, showing that travel has not affected them whatsoever as they get back to business on home turf here in the Boise State Esports Arena. Now over into the corner. Durtho looking to fight for it all in the meanwhile. It goes straight over the net, but no one there. The Golden Gophers to try and send this back. Pye's going to make another attempt. Will get it off the top, but not in the direction he wants. Gets knocked away from the defense of the Broncos. Back into the corner. Golden Gophers going to try again, but Durtho says no. Alex says yes. Preston says, let's take this home. Durtho with the pass over to the side, but barely knocked off the crossbar. Woozy wants to sink it in. Preston will follow suit. Off the crossbar it goes. Another shot lined up. Woozy looks to seal the deal, but Rad finds the save. As it goes midfield once again.
Now on the sidewall, Alex to the midfield. Nobody in support for a pass. Preston looking for the double tap off the wall. Not going to reach. Now Durtho committing heavily here, leaving Woozy in a rough situation here on the sidewall. Trying to get that ball away from Minnesota players. Alex, now the last man back, has to get some sort of control going, and a good demo onto Woozy is going to open up some sort of defensive play. But Preston locking down the fort and now leaving it for Woozy here. Awkward control into the air, but still a pass out to Durtho is managed. And a bump as well, man! Oh, almost an open net.
Close right there for the Broncos. Preston still going to take a shot high. Send it downfield. Woozy to contest. Net almost open, but Durtho's quick with that save. Durtho still holding ball. Pye is able to get control, wants to waterfall it down, but no one there to take the pass on the back end before the Broncos can repossess the ball. Corner goes, demo going to be found by Durtho. This sets up the offense of the Broncos, but quickly Alex Axe make sure that's not going to be a problem.
Uzi playing that one slow, able to get around one. Dirtho now in the midfield, awaiting a potential pass. Now Preston put into an awkward position, already having to pre-jump to the backboard. Uzi awaiting in the corner, looks to get a clear downfield. Only as far as Rad though. Dirtho, initial touch turns into a reset. No follow-up contact out of there. Preston hounding on this ball. This one maybe going midfield for a pass. No. Dirtho now out of the sidewall. Double tap read is going to go high. Boise State just locking down pressure and wasting time. Below 2 minutes now. Boise State with a firm grasp here in game one, looking to start the series off strong.
Credit where credit is due to the Golden Gophers. After that original onslaught that came out of the Broncos, they've been defending quite well, not allowing that lead.
Oh no!
And they'll get on the board on top of it. Minnesota able to score.
Just off of an awkward 50 here. Woozy not getting the best side of that one. Preston pushing up a little too far. And Boise State will concede one goal here. The lead cut in half and a minute and a half remain until the Broncos secure game one. The Golden Gophers now fighting for a second.
Gophers want to find the tie, but the Broncos
a pass!
are quick with it. Pass almost goes through. Dirtho gets the demo. Preston going to contest on the 50. Finds it his way. Gets it past one, but Rad just barely able to fight. Ball right back to Minnesota. Now Dirtho taken to the skies. Dribbling it up high. Looking to get past Alex. Woozy's in the back pocket, and the ball is in the net.
Beautiful carry out of Dirtho here. He's the main man here, getting around one and forcing Alex into an awkward position. I believe it was Preston also getting a defensive bump there onto a player, leaving it wide open for Woozy. Now under a minute remaining, Boise State regained that 2-goal lead, which is something they are very comfortable holding here. Dirtho with an initial 50. Rad now to the skies. Woozy already pre-jumping the touch. Preston meets it in the corner instead. Pie keeping Minnesota on the offense here. Preston able to grab that corner boost, and a lot of time is going to be wasted here as a carry is brought all the way downfield. An initial flip and a shot on target by Woozy. Saved out from the top corner. Now Dirtho from the side wall, continuing the push as 30 seconds now remain on the clock. Boise State look to close it out. They need to get this ball out of their half.
Woozy seizes the chance. Pie's going to go up to find the block. But you always got to watch out for the Broncos.
Oh no!
Someone lined up next, but Alex sees an open net. Alex will seize the opportunity and make this a one-goal game.
Overcommit here. Woozy and Preston both with no boost to recover. Once again, that scoreline being brought back to a 1-goal difference. But with 16 seconds, Boise State, they know they can play the defense here. As long as they can play it smart and play it safe, they will have game one in the bag to start off this best of 5.
Demo found by Rad, but the offense is already being made by the Broncos. Dirtho looks for the shot. Woozy, the back half, looking to stop Alex from going for a goal attempt. Now Rad fights it in the air with Woozy. Woozy gets the better of it. Pie looking to juggle it out. The ball hits the ground. This is over. The Broncos, they like their odds. Minnesota trying to keep it alive, but it will not be found. Instead, it's the Broncos taking game number 1, 3-2.
I'm sure a little closer than the Broncos would like, but still a 3-2 win is nothing to be sad about. You are still starting off the series with a win, 2 away from the series.
And this game is brought to you by Unbottled. They, perform, refuel, recover, repeat. Visit unbottled.com. It's presented by your local dairy farms. Everything you'd ask for when it comes to dairy. Unbottled, great sponsor to have. And getting back on track when it comes to that game, I mean, the topic right here is the Golden Gophers. They were able to put on a good defense. Of course, Broncos catching them by surprise rather early, 2 back-to-back goals. They fought back quite well, where we had no scores going on for quite some time in the middle of the game.
Yeah, and that could be either one of two things. That can either be, the Broncos say, hey, we have 2 goals, let's just hold it down, but waste the time and get out of here, get out of game 1 and move on to the next. Or it could have been Minnesota upping their game, putting the pressure onto Boise State. It could have been either of those realistically.
Minnesota, not a bad fight in game 1. The Broncos still going to take it at the end of the day. The thing is, Broncos with time, their play gets a little bit more fine. So we'll see as they dial in against Minnesota in this game number 2.
They are essentially warming up still. A little bit little bit of a forced kickoff into the Boise State half is going to be performed. Now Dirtho collecting out of the corner is going to be challenged by Alex initially, and a follow-up out of Brad is actually not going to be what he was hoping for, I'm sure. Now Preston out of the corner, double tap close, pass out to Woozy, almost replicating what we saw in game 1. Dirtho is going to keep up the pressure as he passes it to Woozy. Now from the ceiling is going to get a one, and on target is going to be saved out by Pi. Boise State not relenting, the first 30 seconds going their way, and it's going to be Dirtho!
That was filthy offense coming in from the Broncos. I thought that first one was going to go through from Woozy. Was a good attempt. It still puts the pressure onto Minnesota. And in all of that scramble, Dirtho is there to get the slam jam. Thank you, ma'am.
30 seconds on the dot, and this one already getting pinched over to Minnesota's half. Preston now to the sidewall, 0 boost to his name. Dirtho able to steal that corner, and he's going to turn right back on it. Getting a second one within 8 seconds.
Yeah, kind of seeing a theme here. Put in all that pressure, make Minnesota scramble, and have Dirtho be the nail in the coffin. He sinks in his second goal, and not even the first minute of play is complete. The Broncos relentless against the Golden Gophers.
Reminiscent very much of game 1 where they got those first 2 initial goals out of the way. And now potentially a defensive game will come out from the Broncos. We shall see, but instead it's going to be an unfortunate miss out of Rad. Pi getting one downfield for Woozy, sends it long. And this one to the midfield. Nobody's going to be there as Preston gets demoed. And a good flick over one is going to force Preston into action.
Preston's there. Ball almost going in the net, but Woozy reacts, finds defensive play in time. See a lot of bumping going on. It's pretty aggressive out here for both squads. I know Rad had a lot of demos in that game number 1. He's continuing. He'll take out Dirtho, but not good offense made out of the Golden Gophers just yet. They're trying to transition into that. Preston looking to challenge Pi. Pi gets the better, squares it up. Woozy sends it back to Preston. Now Preston has a chance to take the aerial. He has Dirtho right underneath him. Gets the
double tap!
Dirtho looks for the double tap. Woozy is there. 50-50 contest. Pi will defend.
Amazing stuff, almost lands it. Dirtho maybe looking for a second double attempt. Preston, shot goes wide, and now Woozy is the next man up from the sidewall. Actually plays out Alex. Lets it fly. Preston awaiting in the midfield. 1, 2, passes back to Woozy and to the ceiling. Nothing quite forming from that. And Preston with a little boost he has will try to get it midfield, potentially for Dirtho. Now lurking, shot on and in! And our first hat trick of the series is going to go to Dirtho.
Dirtho is always in the right place at the right time. You can see him hunting down here at the bottom angle after Preston Woozy played a little bit of volleyball. He waits for the pass down. It is found, and Boise State will go 3-0.
Fantastic lead here now, just needing to hold it down. Good beat out of 1 on Woozy. And a clear shot. Downfield, a redirect out of Dirtho, looking to send that one a little bit faster on target. Now floating into the midfield. Woozy actually leaves it for Preston to collect. And it's going to be just another attack downfield. They are relentless here. I know we've said it a lot, but they don't want to let Minnesota get any more goals than they've already let on 2 in the last game. They're looking to make it 0 here as we cross the halfway point of game 2.
Dirtho taken into the skies. So far scoreless game for the Golden Gophers. It's only getting worse as Woozy will sink in goal number 4. Not able to get on the board is Minnesota, but the Broncos have no problem getting that ball in the net.
That is not the problem for them. The only problem is letting this time burn down. 2 minutes and 19 seconds of defense and potentially more offense to come as Preston gets a pass out to 1. Woozy trying to connect with this one with 0 boost. Now has to let it float in the midfield. Almost a down pass to Preston, looking to reset this one into possession. Instead, it's going to be Dirtho carrying this one long. Great initial carry, looking for the reset. Isn't going to reach it in time and gets that corner boost stolen away from him, forcing him out wide. And great shot out of Preston. It's just a beat out on the defense. You can't really do too much there when it's simply just an outpaced play.
I really like that shot from Preston. It's a great angle to come in from. You don't really anticipate him going for it, and he finds it over the top of one defender perfectly on net on top of it. We're starting off with a demo as we get situated on the kickoff. Now Rad looking to get the Golden Gophers on the board. Preston fights for control. Pi is there. Takes it up high. Dirtho bumps him on the back end, but here comes Alex. Woozy sends it right over him. contested. Now Preston to try and push it downfield. Has all of the Broncos to work with right here. It's Durtho who catches it, sends it for the double tap. Oh, and no, that's not what you want to see if you're from Minnesota, but for the Broncos, you'll take it any day.
I got to see Woozy from midfield is going to pre-jump that shot, sending that one to the top part of the goal, securing the 6th for Boise State. I mean, as much as we saw Game 1 be as close as a 3-2 goal exchange, it is now utter domination out of Boise State, 6-0. Preston keeping that one away from the net. Rad tries to be a little bit of a nuisance here out of the corner. Durtho just sending that one long. Rad not too good of a touch. Durtho potentially open net. No, leaves it for a teammate in the midfield as Boise State now just need to reset and let this last minute go away.
Oh, Preston gets the flip reset, gets it past one defender. Didn't have the angle to go for the shot. Pass back to Durtho. Alex takes the ball away, but Durtho will fight for control. Pi versus Durtho. Rad over the top will be the one to send it towards Pi. Pi has an opportunity to go for a shot, but Preston will deny that. Woozy with the long shot coming in. Alex gets there in time for the save.
This one just being sent all the way back into the corner. No contact out of Woozy. And a midfield pass potentially to Pi is going to be denied out of Durtho as he just races to this one with no boost. Looking for a pass out mid. It's going to be left for Preston to the backboard. Looking for a close range double tap. Isn't going to land, and now Woozy gets 50'd out, and Boise State don't get their 7th, but sure enough, will get their 2nd game. 6-0 now, just need to play this out. 5 seconds are going to tick down. It's formalities as Woozy looks to musty it on target, just off target, and Durtho not able to get there in time. Boise State will take game 2, no problem.
Almost getting that 7th. Almost. That 7th. If he had a little bit more time, it would have gone in. All things considered, this is what you're expecting from the Broncos. They're able to compose themselves, take the lessons from Game 1, and use it to dominate. Domination, we got to give thanks over to one of our most prized sponsors here. Thanks to ICCU for their continued support of Boise State Esports. Thanks to them, Boise State Esports has won multiple national championships and piled up more than 1,500 wins. ICCU, looking after your daily balance, visit iccu.com. But yeah, fine-tuning kind of coming out in that Game 2, and it results in absolute domination, to say the least.
Yeah, there's not much else you can really say about that as much as, Boise State. They're your number 2 in the PEC for a reason.
Yeah. They've been the team who are constantly contending for that number 1 on top of it. What they're showing right now is they're still taking this game as seriously as possible, and that's what they need to do, because every single game you have on stage is a chance to practice and get ready for the playoffs that awaits.
Yeah, especially with only 2 weeks remaining in the regular season. Syracuse and Ohio State awaiting in the following weeks. Stay tuned for that as we now look to set our sights on Vegas here in the coming months. And that is going to be where everything is going to matter the most for the Broncos.
Go on the kickoff. Minnesota, desperate to get on the board and take a game, but the Broncos will not relent. Oh my God! Filthy from Durtho. And I got to throw it out there. That's going to be your unbottled play of the game, presented by local dairy farm families. Perform, refuel, recover, repeat. Visit unbottled.com to learn more. What a kickoff, Danner.
I mean, that's textbook. You fake out. You don't send your diagonal man to initially make it. Force it onto the Boise State side. Durtho gets the beat out there, and then from the ceiling, it's just a cakewalk for him. It's routine. It's like free play. Durtho is going to secure the first goal for Boise State as Alex chases this one down to the sidewall. Woozy waiting it out, and now Rad getting control from Minnesota as they look for their first, potentially an opportunity before Woozy saves it out.
Pi looks for the 50-50. It goes neutral, but Woozy send it over. Rad tries to get it past Preston. Not going to find that. Into the corner it goes. Alex now eyeing up the ball. See the Broncos now in formation. For the back pass to Woozy. Woozy instead will contend with Rad in that corner. Durtho over the top. Alex, opportunity now coming in for the Golden Gophers, but not going to be seized appropriately. Still Rad taking the shot, and Woozy says no.
This is by far the most pressure the Golden Gophers have been able to manage here, but it's going to be Durtho almost faking out the defense and getting a second. But I've got to commend the Minnesota Golden Gophers here as this one rides the goal line. They are holding themselves firm as they keep that 1-goal lead down to nothing. As Boise State looking to make it 2 goals, Minnesota need to get themselves out of this situation fast if they want to stay alive.
And Minnesota making some adjustments of their own to find that offense and try and get it going against the Broncos. Yet to get a goal, but at least they're not hemorrhaging as they did in game number 2, trying to make this a competitive series. Broncos still holding the lead, however, as Durtho tries to send it over the top of Brad. Gets centered up midfield. Pye is there. Durtho with the block. Uzi sends it over the top to the corner. Pye racing back to receive it. It's Alex who grab it instead. See this contention coming out from the Golden Gophers. They're really holding ground. They've had a lot of opportunities, but nothing on the board.
Nothing on the board. Pye shutting down that attempt from Durtho. Now into the midfield is going to be Preston, where Durtho actually gets a chip on it and it's into the corner. Woozy has to race back. Rad now with control, gets over 1. Looks to carry it over a second, does so indeed. Double tap, close range is going to fall. This one ricocheting off. I think every player imaginable is going to go wide. This one getting sent all the way back into the Minnesota half. Now Durtho reading off the sidewall actually misses. Instead leaves it for Woozy for another close range double attempt. Preston looking to get the beat here, needs to read but misses. Instead it's going to be Durtho actually getting dunked on by Pye. Still no second goal coming out from Boise State. And we are now down to 2 minutes, definitely the longest time without a goal from either side. Minnesota holding their own.
They really are. They're showing their own improvements as the series has gone on. And they've really kept Boise at the back foot. The only thing is they just can't get a goal in, and that's been the difficult part. Broncos are so quick at responding to a lot of these attempts and quick to setting up their own at the same time. Awuzie fighting the ball out from Rad. Test over, sends it to the corner. Alex is going to have to power back. Not much boost really afforded over to Minnesota. This might be an opportunity for the Broncos to go for it. Trying to take the shot. Pye finds the block. Pye going the wrong direction. Durtho, when he takes the skies, he is deadly. Rad with that bump will buy Minnesota some time. Preston on the back end will keep it in territory and might get a goal. So close it was, but another save found by the Golden Gophers.
I thought that was just going to be an unfortunate open net for Minnesota, but instead it's going to be a well-calculated shot out of Durtho. Get one on the board, and now fought out by Durtho and Preston. Out into the corner, a minute remaining, and Boise State still holding the lead, though. This is still dominant fashion out of Minnesota, able to keep this ball in their hands as long as possible. Woozy getting a good dunk there. Rad needs to make sure he has good control, but Durtho is awaiting in the midfield, gets beat out. And we are now under a minute. Minnesota looking to send the house, try to get themselves a goal and force overtime.
They want that overtime. They want a chance to take at least one game in this series. Broncos defense will not let them. 30 seconds left on the clock. Pass over the corner. Durtho is there to receive it. Preston eyes the ball up. Alex going to bump Durtho once again. Golden Gophers been pretty good at playing rough with the Broncos to stop their offense from coming through, even with that demo that just got found by Pye. Broncos still hold the lead nonetheless. Pass over! It's a tie game as Minnesota want overtime.
They want overtime. Now with 9 seconds remaining, Boise State have an opportunity. They need to make sure they have some sort of strategy, some sort of kickoff play that they can knock out here really quickly. It's going to be the fake. Now Preston from the sidewall. It's going to be forced out from away from the ball, I should say. This one being taken to the sidewall is Woozy. Controlled. Looking for the midfield pass. Durtho in wait. Sent out by Rad, and now the 0-second play starts before it hits the ground. Overtime in Game 3 somewhere I wasn't sure we were going to hit today. And as golden goal determines lives, we are looking at a situation here.
Preston fights for control. This might be a shot going on. No. Preston, the block, to be found against his shot. Now Durtho rereads, jumps into the air, catches the ball, gets the flip reset, looking for the pass back. Woozy sends it center field. Brad contesting with Preston. Demos Preston on the way out. Alex will send it over into the corner, but there is Woozy now looking for the aerial. He has to get past Pye. Flip reset, breaks Pye, and now the pass to Durtho. Still in the corner, the ball falls. Now the Gophers looking for their attempt at offense, but always hard to get it past Durtho as, ooh, a little bit of miscommunication, bumps his own teammate. Preston gets the save.
Had to stretch for that one, too. He was already onto the other side of the net. Wasn't too much more he could do about this one, but awkward.
Ooh.
It's going to be rad. Has to play so slow to keep that one out. Woozy, now coming off the demo, is going to stay alive, able to take it to the ceiling, looking for the double tap attempt, and it's going to be saved out by Rad again. Durtho now getting a bump onto one. Preston should be able to cheat up onto this one. Instead, waits it out. Gets a dunk onto Rad, and no support out of Boise State is going to come immediately before Woozy 50 this one into the midfield. And it's going to float out for Alex, and Rad getting a bump onto Durtho. Minnesota are looking for this game win here. They are fighting tooth and nail.
Complete aggressive play coming out from Minnesota. Lots of bumps, lots of demos, lots of action. They're keeping the Broncos at bay, but the Broncos still trying to push in for that goal right there. Passed over. Preston trying to seize the shot, getting blocked away by Pye. Woozy not making it there in time before the defensive play was made by Minnesota, but here's the flipper. He said, pass over to Preston, who makes the goal and closes game 3.
Some flashiness out of Durtho. Great initial touch. Flipper set over. And Preston there for the pass is going to secure Boise State the series win in 3-0 fashion, continuing their record here in the PEC, now going up to 11-3.
Now, we always got to commend when you do see a good performance. I do think Minnesota were able to adapt to some angle and make that Game 3 competitive. But at the end of the day, it's still the Broncos, still a team that's fighting for first place, so they know how to take their time. Minnesota, they were playing very aggressive. They responded to those bumps well, and they secured that Game 3 in overtime.
And I think that was the play out of Minnesota that kind of got them that far. It was those bumps and demos.
Yeah. And off that note, we got to give a little love to one of our sponsors, the Idaho Air National Guard. What if you could pursue college or your dream career while serving your country and getting amazing benefits? The Idaho Air National Guard, just 1 week in a month, 8 months out of the year, you'll get tuition assistance, signing bonus healthcare, 0 home down loans, and high-tech job training, all while keeping your civilian life job and goals right here in Idaho. Whether you're studying, working, or building your future, the Guard enhances it all while giving you leadership skills and lifelong connections. Are you ready to have it all? The Idaho Air National Guard is your pathway to education, career success, and purpose. But yeah, what a fun game, especially considering this was a bit of pressure coming out for the Broncos, right? You take a flight, sometimes you get that jet lag, and it's like 9 hours to get back from Hawaii to Idaho, and then to know that a couple hours after that, maybe like 5 hours after that, you're going to be playing in Rocket League. It's a quick adjust to make, but our Broncos made it.
Oh, absolutely. It's what they do. They are used to situations like this. They know how to adapt. They know how to overcome. And just like that, they get a 3-0 sweep, continuing their PEC run, especially after that dominant performance I mentioned earlier in the Hawaii Invitational. They're just going to continue this now with only 2 weeks remaining. Syracuse and Ohio State on the docket.
Well, off of that note, we are going to close out at least this part of the broadcast, because we do have an interview that's going to be coming up in just a second. So stay tuned, because we'll be right back with an interview. Dribbling it up. And the ball.
Minnesota, any let on. 0 across the halfway point.
This guy it's only getting worse. Sends it right over him.
My friends know me as Derek, but I'm also Master Sergeant Raxter. This is my life in the Air National Guard.
Scott Matlock, underrated recruit, has built himself into one of the best defensive players in the Mountain West.
What would you do if you couldn't fail? Would you see every setback as a catalyst to keep going? This is the innovator's mindset, because innovation demands daring. Is finding thousands of ways that don't work, and the one that changes everything. It's when your unrelenting spirit sees the world's needs and says, I will create something better. So, what will you do? Will you let your genius run wild? Give yourself the space to be great. Set your sights on something even bigger, because we know changing the world doesn't happen by chance. It comes out of the blue.
Since you guys have been in here, some things have changed. We've updated this place to be in its final form. New cabinets, new counters, all sorts of new stuff in here. This has turned into a place that wouldn't look out of place at an SEC or Big Ten football facility, and Dairy West has allowed us to have it here. We've taken a holistic approach to our player nutrition, and we're really thankful that Dairy West has made sure that our fueling station is the best in college esports and really at industry standard for any college athletic department.
Now earn up to 4 times the rewards with the ICCU Premier Rewards Visa credit card. It's the credit card from the credit union you love.
How's it look so far?
Great.
Comfortable?
Yes.
Times and places all in who you share them with. Joy,
I got in.
who you share it with.
This is a great use of your home equity.
Who you share it with.
Hello and welcome back to the Boise State Esports Arena, where I am joined by Doc Haskell, coming off a beautiful little vacation this weekend.
Vacation?
In Hawaii.
That was a work trip, man. We went there to work, and we did.
Yeah.
But it was also in a tropical climate. That's not bad.
No, absolutely not. I mean, time at the beach, just hanging out in the sun, a little bit warmer weather compared to here. And, I mean, you guys showed it. Rocket League on Saturday went 5-0 in the round-robin stage, not dropping a series to anyone, and even taking down the undefeated Baylor.
Baylor is not undefeated.
Not anymore.
This just in, Baylor is beatable.
Baylor can be beat, and you guys proved that.
Yeah.
And then also going into Sunday, getting that #1 seed, I'm sure that felt amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you're going into another day of competition, so what happened before doesn't matter. What happens next does. You got to be fully focused on that. And truly, I mean, we were very pleased to get that win over Baylor on Saturday. And they are who we thought they were, right? They're a very talented team that if we play our game better, I mean, a lot of people say that sounds coach speak, if we play our game better.
Right.
But if we play the system that we play, that players and Coach Wayton have developed, we can beat anybody. We treat it as PvE, and Baylor was E. Yeah. Right? And they're just turned up to 10, right? They punish all mistakes. At the end, it's our system versus our mistakes. And on Sunday, we had a few more mistakes, right? And so we're gonna play that level again. It's Dark Souls of Rocket League in a sense.
It really is, but that'll be a little bit later on into the PEC Grand Finals at Vegas. But
That's right.
We got to shift focus a little bit as we just watched Boise State 3-0 Minnesota again here in the spring.
Much improved Minnesota.
Absolutely.
Right?
I will say, I was looking at the VOD earlier today, getting my stats ready for tonight, and I saw that it was a 16-1 goal difference in the fall when they played them. Now tonight, a 3-2 in Game 1, 7-0 Game 2, and a 1 goal difference overtime in Game 3.
I'm almost 100% positive. This is a compliment to the Minnesota. I'm pretty sure I have seen all three of them now in the six-mans. I think Pi was there before, but I've seen Alex. I think I've seen all three of them there in six-mans, moving through and starting to – a couple of them are touching that B level. They're grinding.
That's huge.
They're grinding. Thank goodness for bots that make the actual competitive unplayable, so that the real players have to play six-mans.
Absolutely. And six-mans is such a great community as well. And – I mean, even they've shown it even more than tonight, getting a win over University of Utah last week in a 3-2 exchange. They are doing phenomenal here in the midseason. Maybe it might be too late as spring is closing out. Vegas is looming, but regardless,
it's not too late because everybody who shows up in Vegas has a shot.
That is true.
Right? If you get hot at the right time, you bust a bracket. If you just assume that you're going to be better than, because we beat them twice in the regular season, that doesn't guarantee anything.
You can never get complacent, especially with the level of talent arising every week in the PEC. And as more schools come on, more players get added. It is better and better each week. And now I got to ask you, Doc, after this win tonight and only having 2 more left, Syracuse and Ohio State, are you feeling confident?
You know what? It doesn't matter who's next and who's after that. The process is exactly the same. Sounds boring, but it's preparation, play our system, calm well, be better at kickoffs than everybody else, right? We've got more in the tank for kickoffs, even more than Michigan State, which has a number of really good ones. Morvu is really leading the charge with that group. Truly. We just have to do what we do well, and then we have to be very careful because we have 2 weeks off when everybody else continues to play. Our bye week is week 8, and we already played our week 9 against Nebraska at the beginning of the year.
True, our week 0.
So we got to go back to the shed and do more work as soon as PEC is done to be ready for Vegas.
Yeah, so after these next 2 weeks, get that 2-week break. Make sure you're staying on the game, make sure you're putting in your hours over 2, and then it's Vegas.
And let me tell you, these guys are in the best place I've ever seen them as a group. They are playing the game well together the right way. They can reset themselves. That is the key, right? You hear it around here with all of our teams, right? Every game, every kickoff, like it has a life and a history of its own. You have to play the moment as perfectly as you can play the moment, and nothing else matters. Doesn't matter what you did, doesn't matter who you're against. You just have to play what you do well, and when they do that, I don't think anybody can beat them.
No, and I think the reset is the biggest thing here after coming off of both of those losses of Baylor and Michigan State a few weeks back. The reset is being shown here greatly over the last weekend, over tonight, and I'm sure even continuing forward.
Yeah, it's not what happens, it's how you respond.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your time, Doc. Thank you so much, and thank you all for joining us tonight against Minnesota tonight in the PEC Spring. Now looking forward to what's next, so stay tuned as we have more coming.